Hello, my friends. I hope you guys are all well. It's June 15. Well, I'm recording this on June 15. That means it's time for the mid-year book tag. But I'm also going to lump in my 2020 reading goals with this video because some of these answers won't make sense unless I tell you my 2020 reading goals. So first, I'm going to tell you my 2020 reading goals, and then we'll go to the mid-year book tag. So I have 3 reading goals for 2020, and one of them is my Goodreads reading goal, which is the number of books that I want to read. And actually, in the beginning of the year, I had it only as 25 because I was like, I'm in my PhD, I have field season, I'm not going to read that many. But then the quarantine happened, and then I was like 7 books ahead of schedule, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna switch it to 50. So right now I'm at 50 books for my reading goal, and I am like 2 or 3 behind, but that's okay. Quarantine's gonna be the rest of the year because my university's not opening. But I think I can definitely reach the 50, maybe more. We'll see. So my second reading goal is created by, I forget who right now, but I did mention it in my last couple videos back, and that is the Diversify Your Reading Challenge. So pretty much every month has its own genre that I should read a book from. And so for this challenge, I chose to read 1 book a month for this challenge. So February was romance, June is nonfiction, and that way I can leave the rest of my book selection for me, for what I want to read. I like that Diversify Your Reading Challenge because it gets me reading stuff I don't usually read, which is great. My third reading goal is to read the books in Canada Reads 2020 finalists. So what Canada Reads is it's put on by CBC, Canada Broadcasting Corporation, and they get celebrities to choose books and then defend them against each other. So it's a battle of the books, which is super cool. So these celebrities champion these books, and then they argue and they get knocked off one by one. And right now they're narrowed down to 5 because it was actually postponed because of everything that happened. And so I'll be reading those 5 books, which I'll make available right here. So in the end of the year, there is going to be 1 winner, and I'm excited to read all 5. I also forgot to mention I have a 4th reading goal, and that's my other Goodreads reading goal, which is to read the winning books for a few sections. And I don't remember what all of them are, but fiction, young adult, fiction, fantasy, autobiography, because I love autobiographies, and there's like 2 or 3 others that I'll put right here. But I just wanted to throw that in that I do have that other reading goal, and I'll probably be doing an update on it in a few days, and if in a couple weeks. So those are my 3 reading goals for 2020. Now let's get on to the book tag. So you talk about the books you read in the last 6 months, and there are a set of questions I have right here, and I'll just go through them. The first one is the best book you've read so far in 2019. This one's a hard one because I think if I had to choose, it would be between Educated by Tara Westover or The Count of Monte Cristo. So it's between those 2. I like both of them for different reasons. Educated was just, it gave me a lot of feels, and Count of Monte Cristo, it was just, I couldn't put it down. I wanted to read it, I wanted to finish it. I was so engrossed. Loved that. The next question is, what's the best sequel you've read so far in 2019? And I haven't read that many sequels so far. I would have to choose Catching Fire and the Hunger Games trilogy. Well, I guess now it's more than a trilogy, because that's my favorite book of the trilogy. So these are the only series that I've read this year, so it's kind of a default win, I guess. Now the third question is new releases you haven't read yet but want to, and it's on the same vein as Hunger Games because right now I am reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So I just started it today, and I am so excited to see if I like it or not. There's been a lot of mixed reviews, so I'm kind of like nervous to see what I'll find. Now the fourth question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that question is actually blank on my phone because I don't keep track of new releases that are coming up in the year. So I don't have an answer for that. Yeah. I'm just gonna slide over that one. The fifth question is biggest disappointment so far. And I actually put 2 of them. The first one is Kiss Quotient that I read for February for my Diversify Your Reading Challenge. So I had to pick a romance book, and this one got a lot of raves. I took it on the plane for like a 12-hour flight, and it was a struggle. Like when I'm on the plane, I usually love to read. Like I won't put the book down. But this one, I just read a chapter and I was like, ugh, it's not catching me. So I kept picking it up on and off throughout the whole flight. And I didn't like it. I don't know. I don't want to say I don't like romance, but I didn't like that book at all. The other book that I picked up from Libby is Girl Stop Apologizing. And I thought I would like this book. It's usually the kind of book that I like, but I could not get through it. Like, I read 50% and I was really not enjoying it. So I put it down and I was so sad.
I'm sorry, am I loud?
It's okay. Yeah. I couldn't finish it. And I haven't DNF'd a book in like 5 years. Yeah. Very sad. What has been your biggest surprise? And without a doubt, it was The Count of Monte Cristo. So I picked it up wanting to read a classic. And I didn't know how long it was because I bought it on my Kindle. And I was reading the Kindle and it felt like the percentage was going really slow, and then by the time I got halfway through, I was like, how long is this book? And then I realized it was 1,200 pages. But the 1,200 pages went really fast because I loved it. It was so fun to read. It's perfect for like isolation times, if you want to pick up a book that you're gonna fall in love with and spend a lot of time with. I love long books because you get to get so invested in it. But yeah, that was my biggest surprise. Next question is favorite new author, debut or new to you? It's a toss-up for me between Madeline Miller and Cixin Liu for the book The 3 Body Problem. And I will definitely be reading more books by those authors. But I loved Madeline Miller's book Circe. I had it as an audiobook and it was just so fun. Like, I loved that book. It was cozy times for sure. And Cixin Liu's book, The 3 Body Problem, it was really cool. I don't know how else to describe it. It was a cool book. It was cool concepts, and I'm actually going to be doing a video about it in a week or 2, so I don't want to say too much about it right now. So the next question is, who's your newest fictional crush? I don't have fictional crushes. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip over that one too. So the 9th question is, what's your newest favorite character? And I think that would be Circe in Madeline Miller's book Circe. I don't know. I think I liked her because she felt like a real person, because you could understand her thoughts and her feelings and why she was feeling this, and I like that she overcame her biggest challenges with such patience, and she learned, and you could see her character development. Like, she had all the reasons to be spiteful, but she wasn't, and I loved watching her mental growth. And I think she's my newest, fictional character. Number 10 is book that made you cry. So I don't cry from books at all. Yeah, no, I don't. Oh gosh, I watched the movies for these books, The Hunger Games, and I teared up a few times in some of those scenes. So maybe that. Question 11, books that made you happy? I think it would have to be the most recent book that I read, which was Life Among the Kaldera by Minnie Audla Freeman. And it made me happy because it's a book about the Arctic, and I was feeling a little homesick, so I read something from the Arctic. And I just loved reading about back home and springtime and the spring hunts, and it made me feel like I was almost back home, and I loved it, so it made me really happy. Yeah. Question 12, what's the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received? Oh god, I don't know. I think that would have to be Birdie. Yeah, it's a really pretty cover. I really like it. I've been meaning to buy books for how pretty their cover is, and I might do that in a couple weeks. Just to treat myself, you know? I deserve pretty books, right? So question 13 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? By the end of this year, I would really like to read A Little Life. It's on my shelf, which is right there, and it's looking at me, and I'm so excited because I know I said I don't cry in books. I'm hoping that will make me cry because that's what I've heard. So that's one of the books that I want to read by the end of the year. But I'm not putting too much pressure on myself that I have to read these many books and for these reasons. So I'll just leave it at that. A Little Life. That was all the questions for today. And let me know if there are certain books that you're anticipating for the rest of 2020. And if you keep up with what new books are coming out throughout the year. And where do you find these lists? Like, are you following an author and you're just like, oh, they're gonna release like this and this and this, or I don't know, I just don't keep track of what's new coming out because mostly I get my books from thrift stores. Well, I hope you guys are all taking care and spending some time in the sun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.